All right, hello. Can you guys hear me? Hey, Learn Family Fun, Cruise Nuts, me and Laura Jean, the moderators here. Okay, we have a small group as expected. Let me center you guys up a little bit here. Okay. Hey, Meg. All right, so this is a brand new thing I'm doing here. So what I'm going to do, I have to be flexible on how I do this because news is not rigid. Okay, so when news stories are breaking out on Sunday and I'm preparing what I'm going to talk about on Sunday, I don't have time to do a vlog for cruise news. So we're going to kick this off with a quick little cruise news segment. And I want to thank all you guys that are here. I appreciate you being here, spending your Sunday evening here. I know a lot of you are watching football. The Detroit Lions won. That's not cruise news, but it is kind of a rarity, rare event, rare occurrence. Okay, so I'm going to get started here. All right, I'm going to start with a small story that's been continuing, and then I'm going to end with the big story of the day. But Carnival. I recorded a news vlog here, or I should say I shared a news vlog here last week, I think about 7 days ago. And in that vlog, I talked about the increased prices on Carnival, how they raised their internet prices. And ironically enough, they have, square this thing up. There we go. Ironically enough, they run into problems with their satellites. So in the initial news story, news vlog, I also went back and referenced a prior Carnival Internet Wi-Fi news story that I covered, where Carnival, announced they were going to expand and improve their services by entering additional contracts with different additional satellite providers. So a couple weeks later, they announced they're increasing their internet price. And then this week, they ran into limitations on sailings out of the eastern seaboard location. So currently right now, Carnival ships sailing out of New York City and Baltimore, which would be the Magic and the Legend, are having internet issues. And they're blaming it on their satellites at this moment. So from what I'm understanding, they gave everybody free Wi-Fi with the understanding that it's not going to be real good. Now, Dave and Brandy, who were on our live stream here a couple weeks ago, just got off the Legend, and they said they had outstanding Wi-Fi, the best ever. So go figure. But the limitations of Wi-Fi are predicted to continue for a short term, so we'll see what happens. Next up, the big news of the day, and I've been watching this on the Weather Channel. I'm sure a lot of you have too, and that is Fiona. And that's not Fiona that's not Shrek's Fiona. That's the other Fiona. It started as a tropical storm officially on September 15th east of the Leeward Islands. And the U.S. Coast Guard issued a port conditions Yankee for San Juan, Puerto Rico, and U.S. Virgin Islands. This means the ports were closed for all inboard ships, and all vessels over 500 gross tons must leave the area. So the U.S. Coast Guard doesn't mess around. Over the last couple of days, this decision by the U.S. Coast Guard forced MSC, Royal Caribbean, Disney, NCL, and others to alter their itineraries because they could no longer stop in the Virgin Islands or Puerto Rico. Now, today, officially, Fiona has been upgraded to a Category 1 hurricane. She is currently all over Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is in a blackout. The big concern there isn't the high winds. The winds are like around 85 miles per hour, but it's the rain. They are expecting some record flooding with at least 2 foot of rainfall. And they predict it's going to continue up through the Caribbean islands, the Bahamas, and ultimately hit Bermuda. So this is something we're going to have to watch real closely. And, say a prayer for all of our cruise friends that are out there right now on cruise ships. We know several that are cruising at this moment and this is going to alter their cruise plans for sure. But the cruise lines are really good at sailing through and around bad weather. Eddie Lugo, how you doing, buddy? So that's part of, cruising. Now, some of you guys, I don't know, some people are afraid they won't cruise during hurricane season. Laura and I don't have a non-cruising season. I think we wouldn't cruise on Christmas Day yet, but season. I think we on Christmas Day. Something happened there. All right, so that's about the only thing we're limiting at this point, because we have been on cruise ships on Easter. We're going to be on a cruise ship on Thanksgiving for the first time in November. But anyways, we cruise year round. Any of you guys watching right now, are you opposed to cruising during hurricane season? Is that something that you factor in? Do you even know when hurricane season starts and ends? I admit, when I started cruising, I wasn't even paying attention to it. Again, like in Miami, they have Carnival has a storm tracking center there, and they're like the Weather Channel. They stay on top of these systems. Laura and I were caught. Well, it's kind of funny. We didn't get caught in it. They sailed around it. Hurricane Hurricane Pam, back in October of last year. We were on a Mexican Riviera cruise on the Panorama. West Side, sailing out of LA. And the tropical storm Pam came, through, and we couldn't go to Mazatlan. So that stop was X'd off our itinerary because it was just, buried in rain and high winds. So with that, that's the cruise news for today. And this is what I like about this live stream. I don't have to do a dedicated vlog for that. And for those 8 or 9 of you that watch my normal Eddie's Cruise News, you'll notice that the live stream news coverage isn't much different than the tape one, because I usually do them in one take. And it takes multiple takes because I'm not good at it. So next, we're going to revisit a couple news stories I covered this week. The Carnival Conquest dry dock in Europe. That's another step closer to getting all of the Carnival ships, painted to match the Mardi Gras. So the blue livery on the bottom of the ship on the hull, that's going to be happening to the Conquest, along with a couple other upgrades. And it's kind of funny because the blue hull gets a lot of people riled up. They don't like it. And I don't understand it. I think it looks cool. Laura likes it too. When we first saw it on the Mardi Gras, we thought, wow, that's really neat. We hope they do it on all the ships, and they are. So it's pretty cool. You got to mix things up from time to time. I mean, they have the whale tail, and you guys out there going, yeah, but Freedom of the Seas doesn't have a whale tail now. They're going to do away with that. I believe from what I heard, Freedom of the Seas, the reason they didn't replace the whale tail, it was a supply issue. It's a little more complicated than, just going on Amazon. Although Jeff Bezos you might be able to order a Carnival whale tail from him, and he'll have it to you, delivered to you shortly after you thought about it. And Zuckerberg would tell you about it on Facebook immediately too. But with that said, I fully anticipate the Freedom to get the current whale tail. And the Luminosa looks like it doesn't have a whale tail yet. I don't know if you've seen those pictures. It looked like they just painted the original stack to match the colors. Next up, now if you don't like the livery, let me know in a comment. If you think the blue on the hull looks bad, I'm just curious. It gets a lot of people argue about that over in the VFIP Carnival group, but they fight over everything there. I read a post today where someone over there asked, why do you think people are fighting all the time on Carnival cruise ships? And I'm like, they're fighting in here all the time. Only difference is they're hiding behind a monitor. Next up, the Carnival Celebration successfully completed its sea trials in the Baltic Sea this week. Both of these stories I just mentioned are from 9/14 Wednesday. That's really good news for all of us that have booked the U.S. inaugural sailing, and those of you lucky enough to be doing the transatlantic official inaugural sailing. We've been listening to people tell us since we booked it, I won't get too excited. They're going to probably have delays, man. And, you know, it'll probably be delayed, and doesn't look like it. Looks like everything is on schedule. The sea trials were highly successful. They went through all the different stages they need to go through, and the ship passed with flying colors. It's to be expected because it is the sister ship to the Mardi Gras. So they're not reinventing the wheel with the celebration. It's identical to the Mardi Gras. Everything that is different is aesthetics. Okay, design, aesthetic stuff. Next up, Cayman Islands. We came that close to having a pier in Cayman Islands, and that plan got canceled. What happened was, if you know, you take a tender in, and there's people that will not go to ports that require tender. People are afraid of water, number one. People that are just afraid of getting smashed between the tender and the cruise ship won't do that. And then there's people with, limitations, physical limitations, handicaps. They're physically challenged that don't feel comfortable trying to get their wheelchair or their scooter on the tender. It's a big process, man, when they do that. So these cruise ships are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and they're trying to get all of these countries to expand their ports and get to a point where we don't have to do the tender anymore. And the Cayman Island government was set to do that before the pandemic. And since then, the citizens of the Cayman Islands protested. They had multiple protests because they are concerned that building a pier and a passenger terminal there would ultimately harm their environment, the ecosystem there in the Cayman Islands. So the government said, well, the people spoke, so they're not going to do it. So we're going to stick with tenders. And, you know, they are going to look at trying to have more tenders and nicer tenders and, you know, whatever. But I also covered that. Tenders can be a little, they can cause you not to get to go to your stop. Have you ever been denied a port stop because it was unsafe to use a tender because the waves are too heavy? That happens occasionally. So, yeah. Next up, that was on 9/14. I also talked about Virgin Voyages offering these long repositioning cruises from Europe back to the United States during 2023 and 2024. If you're interested in that, go to Virgin Voyages website and check out the itineraries and all that stuff. Some news stories, I'm not going to revisit everything I cover because some of it is, not as interesting or as important, so I'm not going to get into that. Have you been on a Virgin Voyage cruise though? Any of you? Anybody? I know we want to give it a shot. The only thing we don't like about it is there's currently no drink package. So when you drink and you cruise and you have no drink package, it's almost like a casino game. You don't know what the number is going to be at the end of the week. So we hope that eventually they do a drink package like every other cruise line. But right now, that guy, what's his name, Branson, he doesn't want to do that. So next up, from Thursday. Now this one, I titled it Crew Member Overboard and More. Okay, there's a couple different stories that keep occurring that I almost hate to cover because I almost wonder if covering them encourages more people to do these things. One is people jumping off the cruise ships, and two, the fights on the cruise ships. So I have been kind of dodging some of these man overboard stories, but this one was kind of unique, so I thought I would cover it. And I'm going to get into fights after all this. But for right now, the crew member Overboard, I ended the story with that. The first story I covered that day was Virgin Voyages Scarlet Lady, talking about Virgin Voyages again, had a rescue at sea north of Cuba. Now, that was the second rescue at sea of the week. The Carnival Horizon did an attempted rescue, but they ended up giving the people on the boat supplies. And I believe they let them stay on their ship, and I believe the Coast Guard came. Now, we had several vloggers on a group cruise on the horizon, and they all covered it as nauseum. So I decided, hey, this Virgin Voyages is kind of a interesting one because they're still a new cruise line. And one of the things I like about the cruise industry that doesn't get covered is they follow maritime law. And when they find any vessel at distress, they will reroute, go to their aid, make sure they're okay, and then turn them over to the authorities. Now, in this case, there was 8 individuals on a homemade raft. When they got up on the vessel, they could see it was a homemade raft, made out of water barrels and inner tubes, and what looked like a blue tarp. Vinyl tarp is a sail. And so 8 people on board, they took them, and from the cruise tracking apps and websites out there, they looked like they changed their direction and headed towards Key West to turn these 8 individuals over to the Coast Guard there. Now, MSC, the crew member that jumped off board, apparently he got into an argument with his partner. He belonged to the entertainment group, the crew. He was a dancer, and got into an argument with his partner and jumped overboard. And he did this in front of an audience of people. There was witnesses that watched him do this. So there's no mystery there. So he intentionally jumped overboard. But he also started screaming the minute he hit the water for help. And they alerted the rescue team on board. And this all happened at 4 a.m. Okay. So they ended up 40 minutes later, they were able to pull this guy out of the water, get him back on the ship. And, he lived. He was okay. And there's no reports of him having any injuries or anything like that. He was got off the ship at the next port and went back to his home country. They weren't clear on if he was terminated or if he left on his own, but I kind of think that you're not going to have a hard time keeping your job if you're jumping off the ship like that. It's very expensive to rescue someone in a situation like that. Now, I've heard of this on many different occasions from different people, that the crew members are notorious for having, especially the entertainment groups on board, are notorious for having parties the last night at sea, late into the wee hours. I've read where people have complained because their room was directly underneath a location on the ship where one of these parties were taking place. I've never seen that. Probably because I'm usually passed out early, and the latest I think I've been up on a cruise ship has been maybe 2 o'clock, and that's only been a handful of times, probably only 3 or 4 times. So have you seen that? Any of you guys ever see a huge crew party, after party, well after everything's shut down at night? One of our friends commented when I shared this story that, alcohol, that was like a 1-word response. That could be the situation where they got a little too lively drinking, and who knows. But at this point, the port authorities were looking at video, talking to witnesses, and looking further into this. But like I said, it seems pretty cut and dry. You don't need to be Columbo to solve that riddle. Because there was people watching everything go down. So with that, now I'm going to talk about the fight on the Carnival Sunrise. Now this was reported back on the 9th of September. Can you believe it, man? September is more than halfway over. It's flying by. Now I ignored it because, as I said, I'm getting, tired of reporting about bad behavior stuff, because it starts making it sound more and more normal, and it's not normal. There's many theories on why these fights are breaking out, but the fight that happened on the Sunrise, there's some video, and you know what? I told Laura this today. I said, we watch these paranormal shows where people are, trying to get pictures of ghosts and paranormal activity. And we watch the Bigfoot shows where they're trying to get video of Bigfoot, and where they're trying to get video of aliens and spaceships. and the video is always terrible, right? Grainy, you can't tell anything. They're like, if you look real close, you can see what appears to be eyes. And it's like, no, I don't see that. It's like that with these cruise fights. Every time there's a fight, it's like someone's uncle is recording the thing with like got fingerprints like grease all over their lens, and they're holding the camera all crazy and shaking it around. You can't really see anything. So it's really hard. But if you watch that video in the beginning, there's some still capture pictures of the video, and you clearly see a man on top of a woman beating on her on the Lido deck. And it looks like no one's doing anything for the first few seconds of this. And then later, as it goes, it's only seconds long. So let's say 10 seconds he's beating this lady. It might only be 7. But he got in a bunch of swings. Hard to tell for sure because the video is so terrible. But then other people jump in. And what do? They do what they do in every fight. They start hitting the guy that's on top of the person hitting the person. And 2 or 3 of them are standing back hitting and kicking. And then someone accidentally hits someone when they're trying to hit this guy. And then they start hitting each other. And it looks like Roadhouse. And it's silly. So what I like to do when these things happen is I go into the different Facebook groups and just kind of watch and see what people are saying. And, you know, it's happened a lot on Carnival cruise ships. So, you know, we love Carnival and we hate to say this is a Carnival only issue. And the ironic thing is Carnival is the only cruise line we know of that has a drink limit. So there's people that try to blame it on alcohol. You know, it's the alcohol. Well, people get drunker on the cruise lines with no drink limit. Trust me, I've been people before on Royal Caribbean ship. You don't have to worry about counting them because there is no limit. Supposedly, they will cut you off if you're really super drunk. But I've seen people, you know, pass out sitting in chairs and stuff, and they didn't do nothing about it. But I've only been on a couple Royal Caribbean cruise ships. And I really think it's a shame Carnival has to have a drink limit. But I believe they initiated this in the past to try to calm down some of the out of controlness. I'm making up words here. Just to get things under control, right? So the other theory is Carnival is the Walmart of the seas because it's super cheap to sail on Carnival. Yes, it's less expensive on Carnival than say it is to sail on Norwegian and Royal Caribbean, but they're still in the same neighborhood, guys. The prices they're in the same neighborhoods. We're talking hundreds of dollars difference. We're not talking thousands of dollars difference. Okay, so I don't know if that's it or not. Now the other theory is it's the fun ship. You know, fun, party, everybody's festive, having a ball. Everybody's out there doing, you know, the sail away party and, you know, the line dancing and all of the deck parties and all that stuff. Who knows? Some people say it's the port. It's the port that these cruise ships are sailing out of. So if you're sailing out of this port, the majority of the people on the ship live near that port, within driving distance of that port. So that's the issue. So certain ports are going to be prone to more fights, and I don't believe that. I don't personally don't believe that. So I really don't have a theory on it, guys. I really don't. I would say if I had to pick one of those things, I can't blame it on the alcohol because there's alcohol on every cruise ship. I would have to blame it on the fact that they focus on fun. And dumb people don't know how to have fun. They just can't do that. And another thing I noticed, these fights tend to happen on the last day, the last full day of the cruise. Now, we understand it's a depressing day. No one wants to leave, you know, unless you're, you know, seasick or you just didn't like it, your first cruise, and you decided, hey, I just don't like this, whatever. But the majority of us are not happy about our cruise ending. So that could be a factor involved. Well, with all that said, hopefully Carnival keeps their word and they crack down on it and punish these people and don't let them back on the ship. So, Eddie, you don't drink at all? There you go, Laura. Don't bring me on alcohol. Jamie Foxx. All right. Hey, we got 13 people in here. That's pretty cool. Yeah, guys, I'm going to try doing this. I'm going to do it for a few Sundays in a row and see how it takes off. The big goal of this is hopefully people will revisit these cruise news streams later, in the coming days, the ones that aren't here now. And I appreciate all you guys that are here now. And we do have, there's something I want to share with you guys. Laura and I started a Carnival Facebook group several months ago. And it's because we got tired of all the negativity and personal attacks in the big Carnival Facebook groups, like the VFIP group. The big VFIP group, the person who started it lost control of it and started another one. And there's really no one moderating that group. That's why it's crazy. It's like the book, The Lord of the Flies, where those kids all end up on an island with no adults, and there's no, society is out of control, complete anarchy. That's what that group is like. So when there's no one in there to enforce rules or remind people that there are rules, then it just gets crazy. Now, we can handle it. We don't get in there and argue with dumb people, and we just ignore them. And but we were watching new people new to cruising, and they're asking legitimate questions, looking for help, just getting slammed by these guys, put down, told basically they're stupid, use the search function, all that stuff. Like every internet expert does, they tell the new person to go check the search function. Now, chances are they did a search in Google and this Facebook group showed up, or they did a search on Facebook and this group showed up. And now they're there looking for, a quick answer to their questions. It's not that easy digging through forums and groups looking for information that you need, because it's not a straight path, and you can end up in rabbit holes, watching two people argue over something stupid. It just gets really dumb. So just answer their question and be nice to them. What's so hard about that? If you're tired of answering questions, don't answer their questions. Someone else with more patience than you will answer their questions. But we got tired of that. So we started Carnival Cruise Fanatics, and we go into a VFIP when we see people getting ripped and torn apart. We just drop the link to Carnival Cruise Fanatics and say, hey, go here, and you guys are going to be able to be positive, never attacked, ask all the questions you want. And it's done pretty well. We're closing in on 2,000 members, and it's not a Huddle Adventures Carnival group page. It's Carnival Cruise Fanatics, and Laura and I happen to be administrators of it. So earlier today I did a vlog welcoming everybody to Carnival Cruise Fanatics, and I shared it here on our Facebook page. Well, actually, I haven't shared it yet. I'm sorry. I still have to upload it. It's all edited and ready to go, and I'm going to share it on Carnival Cruise Fanatics. So you guys that didn't know about Carnival Cruise Fanatics, make sure you check it out. And, if you ever hear people that are complaining about, man, why is this place so mean? Why are these people like this? Send them over there. Now, the other reason I mention it is our rules are different. One of the things I get in trouble with in those type of groups is that whenever I share any kind of content, like cruise tips, cruise news that applies to whatever is going on with that person's question, things that's pertinent to what is happening in the post at that time, but is from our social media enterprise, from Huddle Adventures, there's a lot of groups that just they won't let you post it. They'll threaten to ban you for doing that. They call that spam. And it's silly, because those groups are all about sharing information. That's what it's about, sharing information. I have information that can help you. You have information that can help me. hey, we're all in this together. You know, that's what it's about. That's what it's supposed to be about. That's the nature of it. So in Carnival Cruise Fanatics, cruise vloggers are encouraged to share their Carnival Cruise content in that group. You're not going to get banned. You're not going to get it blocked. You're not going to get it removed. Now, you'll see excursion companies, like small mom and pop little excursion companies, imports that Carnival stops at, posted in there as well. Tell them about, their tours and whatnot. We don't stop those guys from doing that because that's information you can use as a Carnival cruiser. You might strike up a relationship with this guy that owns this, excursion company, and you get to ask him questions directly and get your information. So we think that's cool. What we won't tolerate is spam and stuff, true spam, people selling things and, all that kind of stuff. But I cover all that in the vlog, and I thought I'd mention that here because I think that's newsworthy. So with that, guys, I want to thank you. We are going to be guests on How We Cruise tonight. It will be Laura and I. Laura is here. She's in the chat. And we are going to join Brian and Julie. And we are excited to be there. We've really become really good friends with those guys and with Josh and Amanda from Have Luggage Will Travel. And many of you guys, we are developing friendships with you as well. And it's really cool. And that's one of our favorite parts about cruising and vlogging is making new friends with you guys. So with that, hey, Dana. Dana's here. That's cool. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. I was thinking it was just going to be my mom and Laura watching me. So I want to thank you guys. I'll tell you, I was a little nervous doing this today because usually I got Laura here to, keep me out of trouble. So that's a good thing. It's always good to see Dana. You guys, we shared a vlog a couple weeks ago, and with Dana, it was just really funny. They ran a cruise, and it was awesome. So anyways, sporting our Huddle Adventure. You'll see Dana, she's on there right now on our Facebook page wearing the Huddle Adventures t-shirt. So those are starting to get out. We sent a bunch of those out. All of our winners got their stuff. We had a contest on our live, and everybody has their stuff now. So we're pretty happy with the way Spring has been. That's the company we're using for our store. So with that, we will see you guys. Make sure you tune into How We Cruise. I almost said How You Will Cruise. How We Cruise at 9 o'clock Eastern, and it should be very highly entertaining. And I really appreciate all you guys. So we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.